Hello, everyone, and welcome to our peer-to-peer session, Social Media Basics for Artists and Creatives with Colleen MacRamos. My name is Hendrik Hernandez Resto. I am the Creative Specialist for New Bedford Creative. Thank you for joining us today. Before I go any further, please enter your first and last name in the chat along with your email for our records. Thank you. This peer-to-peer series is geared to enrich, educate, and connect creatives within our community. New Bedford is the home of artists, creatives, change makers, designers, entrepreneurs, and community enthusiasts. The peer-to-peer sessions embraces the pulse that makes New Bedford so unique while also expanding our knowledge and connections. New Bedford Creative offers many opportunities for artists and cultural organizations. Join our creative directory, apply for one of our grants or call for arts, list your event on our calendar, all for free at our website, newbedfordcreative.org. Peer-to-peer sessions is supported in part by the City of New Bedford's Arts, Culture, and Tourism Fund, facilitated by New Bedford Creative at the New Bedford Economic Development Council, which receives support in part from the National Endowment for the Arts, a federal agency. We would like to thank Mayor John Mitchell, his administration. We would like to thank Mayor John Mitchell, his administration, and the entire New Bedford City Council for their continued support of the creative sector. Additional support is provided by the Barr Foundation, Bristol County Savings Bank, and South Coast Community Foundation. Before I introduce our presenter, I want to go over the format for this session. Once Colleen is finished, we will open up for Q&A. I will review the questions in the chat first, and then we can continue with the Q&A live. We have about 20 minutes for questions, so we can wrap up on time by 1:30. Just so that everyone is aware, this session is being recorded. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat so we don't miss them when we open up for Q&A. Most sessions throughout the series have been recorded and can be found on our YouTube channel by searching at New Bedford Creative in the following weeks. I will now pass it over to Colleen MacRamos to share more details of who they are and what they will present for us today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Colleen MacRamos. My pronouns are she and her. I am a social media person, and I'm here to help you be one as well. We can all do it. And I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go through what is my first ever slideshow online teaching experience. So be gentle with me. I usually do much better in person. So yeah. We're gonna do this, right? We're gonna all do this together. Perfect. There we go. Beep. Okay, perfect. Sweet. So yeah, thanks. I think it's pretty apparent at this point why social media is important. I used to have to start explaining to people what the reason we needed to focus on social media was, but at this point, I do feel like I think we're all aware of its impact on our everyday lives. So right now, I kind of go into my intro about like what is social media, because I feel like a lot of people don't really realize that like YouTube is social media, like Reddit is social media, like all of these things that we use in our everyday is social media to an aspect, and there's an ability to harness that for our business. My experience is mostly in Instagram and the Meta platforms and that algorithm, but we will in this one kind of explore double dipping into TikTok, because it is obvious that that is where the trend is moving, correct? So I have one slide that's kind of just like how to kind of multi-purpose things that we're using for the platforms I am more aware about, how they work on TikTok, because it's always best to just post. And we're going to talk about how it's so daunting to just do it. And that's one of the biggest challenges. So we're going to get into that as well. So as my opening slide says, it's not about being everywhere and everything to everyone. It's like literally all that stuff that we learn in business, whatever 101, right? Like your customers are looking for you, your people are looking for you. So, like, it's the same with social media. Like, your people are looking for you. Find your people. And the way you're going to do that is being true about who you are and what your business is about. And reflecting that in your social media is a big part of it being worth it, the time for you, right? If you're putting yourself and your authentic self forward on your media, you will receive the kind of engagement you need. And I'm going to help you kind of figure out how to start doing that, how to feel less like shooting into the wind, like you're just hoping for the best. We're going to get a little bit more like number based too. So then we can kind of go into like what actually works with the audience you already have. Sound good, everybody? Woo! Yeah. Okay, great. So the next slide, let's see if I can figure out how this works. Oh yeah, great. I have to move your face out of the way. So this is like the busiest little slide here. I'm not very good at this. As I said, the mindset is one of the biggest things. It's like progress over perfection. It's like the first baby post, you're always going to look back on the first post you post and cringe. You are always going to get better. And that is the point. That's the point of art. That's the point of all of it, right? Is that we are going to look back and see things that we obviously could have improved on, but there is always that spark of wanting, that the drive is always in those first baby posts. So again, it's better than nothing. It's better than not doing it, right? Like, sure, you could have painted that canvas yellow and sold it for $1,000, but that person did, right? Same thing. Like, you have to do it. So even if it's not the best, try it and then try it again and then try it again, because consistency is what will get the algorithm to pay attention to you. It doesn't have to be good. I know that's the worst thing. It's the worst thing to hear, that it doesn't have to be good. It really just has to be you. And that's a big part of it. If I should I have the chat open, I'm just realizing if people, oh no, are people going to like ask me questions? Save the questions for the end because I will not be paying attention. How's that?
Yeah,
I will pay attention
that's what the instruction
later.
was at the beginning, so we'll follow that.
Sorry. But again, most of the stuff is pretty much business 101. Like, it's always about knowing who you are as a business owner and who you're trying to engage. And it's best to kind of always reevaluate that, right? Like, I know it's dumb for me to say the things that like we all know we should be doing as business owners. And I did want to mention I was a business owner. I was a photographer for 15 years. That's why I know a little bit about doing this. I also was a blogger and continue to be a blogger throughout multiple platforms for the past 20 years, and have a following over 10,000 who follow me through platforms. So I know a little bit about retaining an audience and building a business through social media. So that should have been part of my introduction. We'll edit that in post, right? We'll just copy. Anyway, so a part of like when you write out that business plan, you figure out who you are and what you're going to be, all that stuff, that's can follow into social media, right? That's like part of that like process of figuring out who you are. And the baby posts that aren't the best is part of that. Like, you looking back at your art and seeing that you could have improved. It's all part of that. And I know I'm preaching to the choir when it comes to saying things like this, but it's just nice to hear it every now and again in every aspect of life. So I'm here to remind you, think about things that you see other people doing that you think you could also do easily. We're going to get into how to hop on to trends and things like that. So this like mindset branding is pretty much anything that you've done already as a business owner, hopefully. We're going to talk about like more how to make that into an Instagrammable or a Facebook, TikTok brand that will carry you through all of your social media, hopefully, too, which is another thing to kind of think about if you are using multiple platforms, that it's just like branding. You want to keep it consistent. You want to keep all of your profile pictures the same, things like that, like very simple branding things that we all kind of know, but it is the same in social media. You're going to want to try to keep all those things consistent. So we're going to carry our like business plan into social media. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to look at the numbers. We're going to look at our actual Instagram numbers. And I'm going to show you, hopefully, how to do that right now. So I'm going to just actually show you the back end on Instagram. Before I go into this, I will preface it by telling you that every app, if you look at it on your phone versus an iPad versus a computer versus Meta versus Facebook versus Instagram, it's all different. I'm going to preface it by telling you, like, I want you to take your phones out now and try to do this along with me, but it will be different because I'm doing it on the computer. But hopefully, like, it'll be close enough. Anyway, they want to make it hard because they don't want to tell us how the algorithm actually works. Let's go into that. So I'm going to X out of this little presentation here and go into my account insights. Here we go. So this is my personal page because I haven't been doing anything on my business page recently. So pardon the weird post of just me. But while we have my insights open, I'm going to show you how to find what insights are important. And I'm also going to show you how, as a story-based creator, I get views on my stories higher than almost anything else. And I do think that that is one of the pluses of using Instagram as a platform. But we'll go into that at the end if we have time. So here's your account insights. Hopefully you can access this in your dashboard. So again, on the internet website part, it's like this side thing. Hopefully you can find it. When I find the most important insights, meta data, info, or whatever for me, honestly, is down here or wherever if you have to swipe for it. It's the most active times. That's the thing that I'm always eyeballs on. Okay. It'll break it down to the day of the week and what time and who's watching and when they're watching. And that helps me figure out when I should make sure my posts go up. So I don't know if, and also another caveat is if you make sure you have a business profile, if you have an Instagram, if it's personal, this is my personal page, but it is technically a business, which is why I have these insights. You may be able, if you have a linked Facebook page to your Instagram, see this data on that Meta dashboard in the Facebook app. I do not have my Instagram and my Facebook linked because I'm a troll. And so this is my personal page. If it was my business page, they would be linked, but I would have nothing to show you since I'm not actively using it. But this, again, the most active times I find is really where your data lies, right? Because this is going to give you insight into when to even bother posting. And also, I have found that, say, like right now on this chart, I see that, I'd want to post around 9 or 12. You wouldn't want to post at 3 because you have to think of how your feed works. Naturally, when you're refreshing, it will show you the last couple of hours. So you always want to try to post at the beginning of your surge. So then while people are refreshing in those next few hours, they're seeing your posts. This is just how to get to your information. We're going to go into why I think which information is most important. I don't answer anybody's questions. So that is, again, in your insight, and then in your content will be each post individually and how they perform. So let's go back. Stop looking at myself. Okay. That is how to access the information we're about to talk about, just so you are like aware of how to get to it, because that's important. Because if you don't know how to get to it, we can't use it. The best posting time is when your audience is active. You can find that through those numbers I just showed you. The 2 sub bullets, typically weekday mornings or early evenings. Weekends are great to remind people of events. That's just typical. But always go with your numbers above any other advice, honestly. Consistency is best over anything. If you post every Tuesday at 9, it's better than not posting anything or posting when your followers are active. If they want you, the algorithm will pull them for you. We'll talk about that as well. Experiment with times and tracks engagement. We just talked about that. Schedule posts ahead. You can do that through Instagram now, like actually through the website. I can schedule posts through Instagram, which is amazing. It does nerf your views. And I don't know why they do that. So if you are having a view issue and you're feeling like you're not getting your content to enough people, using a software or even scheduling within Instagram may not be the way to go. You might want to try to take the time to actually post. That doesn't mean you need to be making posts every day. You can file them away in a folder and just post them. But the act of posting them through the app on a device is the best way to get views. It's all really dumb. So on the side, the left, right-hand side of this, whatever side, the reach, engagement, saves and shares, and follower growth. Those are the metrics I think are most important. Your reach is going to show you who's looking at your stuff. So when we went back, well, actually not on that page that I showed you, but when you dig in your metrics, and you should, it's not easy. You do have to like click around. It will show you where people are looking at you from, what countries, what part of America. It will show you the sex demographic, the age demographic, all of that stuff. And that's important to know if you are, one, reaching your ideal client that we've made up and we talked about and that we're marketing to, or two, that if we're not, we at least know that we're not and we can try to fix that, right? So all of this stuff is hidden in the back end of your app. And I will just tell you, look through every type of device you have. You will find different metrics on each device. It's awful, but it's true. Having your Facebook and your Instagram linked is the easiest way through Meta to get your data most consistent, I have found. It'll also show your engagement. Like in that last page, it showed me how much views each post got. That's also important, so you can tell where to focus your energy. I hate that part the most. I hate that part the most as a social media person, is actually looking to see what performed the best, because it's never anything I ever actually worked a lot hard on or I thought would do well or what's even important. It's always something dumb and last minute, and it engages like gangbusters. So do with that what you will. But it's important to look, because then it helps you know that when you do that one-off post, it might get you 1,000 views when the one you spent hours on will get you 20. Like, it really, it's all about the balance, right? This is another hard thing. The saves and the shares is technically what Instagram and Meta will tell you will bring you out on the algorithm. I don't believe that, but I feel like I have to say it because that's what they tell us. They tell us it's saves and shares. I think it's actually comments. I think it's shares on stories, not shares in feed. They have this new like reshare button. I don't think it's any of that. I really think you want people to comment as much as you can, engage, like, and posting similar stuff again and again sometimes will create engagement. So like, we're going to talk about that, especially when it comes to TikTok series, like having something that takes multiple posts helps people, well, will get people to want to go back through your post, which will create engagement. So I do think that that stuff actually works. Saves and shares is just what they tell us to make us feel good about it. And then you can also track your followers. Followers are important. Obviously, it helps you get bigger and better reach on Instagram. It helps you get better things to do, like you can do links and stuff with more followers. But I do think the engagement is what is most important than follower count. Follower count is great. Follower count is always, we don't not want it. We do want it. But if you have 200 followers and you're getting 197 looks at each post, that's better, right? Like going back to my numbers, like my reach is around, like, I have followers. I have 13K followers. My reach per post is like 300. Right. So like it's really, you really have to know like what the people are doing in the back end, right? Like if I get 1,000 views on a post, that's great, but that's not a good number either of 13. Like it's not a good percent either, right? So followers don't really mean anything. It really is engagement, and you have to look in the back end to see that. You can see it in people's likes and comments, and you can also see it in your algorithm. When you interact with other people, you'll see those people show up in your algorithm. So, like, this is just how it works. I know you've seen it. I know you've commented on one thing, and now all of a sudden you're watching dumpling videos forever because you commented on one dumpling video. So now every video is about dumplings. So, like, that's just how it works. So, you need to have somebody comment on your video about dumplings. Okay. Just start posting. Essentially, this is like what they'll tell you is the best. And I, again, as a business owner, never did what I should have done ever. You should post twice on Instagram and twice on TikTok on the feed. That's what they say a week. You also want to do stories twice as much as you've posted. Again, I'm just saying this. No judgment. The thing that I actually think is worth it is this next one, is the engagement. Replying, liking, sharing. So even if you're not posting as yourself, as your business page, as the page you want to promote, do stuff with it. And this is what I suggest doing. This is the back end stuff that they don't want to tell you about. Shh, off the book. Hashtag the things you're into. Like if you're selling crochet, hashtag crochet knits, da da da. Comment, comment. It helps the machine think you're a real person with real interests and not just a business who's just hopping on, posting a thing and hopping off. So I do think that actual engagement, so that middle part is actually more important than posting twice a week on each platform. Posting consistently is good because if you can't be pushed if you're not posting anything. But the algorithm will not push you if it thinks you're a robot. You need to go on and you need to like things in your business as your business. Like Looney Tunes on your personal page, like carpentry on your business page. Okay. So those are the things that you need to keep separate. And you liking those pages will help you come up in those people's feeds as well. And all of that helps feed the machine. Right? Things that you want to do on your posts to feed the machine, reply to every comment. Every comment you get deserves a reply or at least a like. You're going to collaborate. We're going to talk about that. Everybody who's on this call today is going to collaborate with somebody else on this call today, right? Is that what's going to happen? We're all going to make content together. So we're going to talk about how we can do that. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about stories. As I said, I think that's one of the best ways to use Instagram. Instagram. The feed is your website at this moment. This is your website now. Whatever people open your Instagram page to, it should say what you want them to know about you as immediately as possible. And then if that means, this is the scary part, if that means having a picture of you every 9 pictures, that's what that means. Okay. And I know it's scary and I know it's hard, but you wouldn't want to go to a website of somebody you're supposed to know and love and like and have their art and be part of their business and have no idea what they look like. Right. So those first 9 or 6, because now they're kind of like oriented a little bit differently. That's your website. So always keep that in mind with your feed. Stories are your fun throwaway things. They're also where you share your fellow artists and event space people, whatever stuff. Stay relevant, stay conversational. try to talk as much as possible about yourself, about the behind the scenes. This stuff is going to be gone quick, so don't make it something that needs to stay forever, but it could if it needs to, because it's in your archives. So everything usually that you put on your stories stays in the archive, so you can pull it later. That's a little insider tip there. Reels is where the engagement is going. So we all, I think, at least hopefully are aware that photography is dying. It's okay. And the videos are, talkies are done, and we're all going, or whatever they said in the times before us, and it's time to start making those happen. And that's how you're going to get discovered, unfortunately. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple of slides, about how to make that work for you. Best practices, again, carousels get more reach because they'll show up twice. Stories will pop up at the top of the feed, so that'll keep you relevant. People will pop a story, a couple of stories. It's really low commitment for the consumer. And then call to actions in your text, link in bio, say this post, link, tag a friend who should be coming to this event, things like that. That's all going to be in the caption. Keep it light. No one reads them. It's opposite. It's either no one reads them, or it's a whole thing that's the only point of the post. Anything that's between a few lines or a novel, no one's going to read. So try to keep that in mind. A few lines mostly in the visual, or the visual is just there for us to read a giant post. So the ones in between don't really get traction. Example post type on the side. Again, the carousel is the one you flip through. It will pull up multiple times on the algorithm of your followers. If they don't like the first picture, the algorithm will pull up the second one and see if they'll like the second one. So it's always best to post carousels because you'll get pulled up twice. Reels are, again, the best way to get more views, the new views, the popped up on people's For You pages or whatever they're called. Shorter the better. We'll talk about that in our next TikTok strategy. So this will also apply sort of to Reels because they're similar media. The difference in TikTok videos and Instagram videos, I will say, at least that I've observed, is that it says right here, authenticity is over polish. So like on TikTok, you're gonna want something if you're not feeling the best about the transitions or whatever, don't do transitions, get it out there, be yourself, because that tends to be more what TikTok is about. Unless, again, so really you have to know your market. If your market is like video production, you're obviously going to have the best, most amazing TikToks ever. But if you're crocheting, as we said, your TikToks can probably not be the most, it's mostly about you being like, I got these new hooks and it helps my life. It's all about us. It's all about helping, sharing. TikTok is much more about the experience. Instagram tends to be more about the product, the final, unless you're blogging. And typically, as businesses, you're not blogging. Typically, you are presenting, you're showing artistry, you're showing events, you're showing things that are in the progress of happening, which we'll talk about for making content, or finished. TikTok has a more of a blogging aspect at the moment, but who knows where it's going to go. Shorter videos are always better as well. The ideal video length being 10 seconds is so hard for me because it makes me want to just do a slideshow, which is then again not a video, it's just photos. So 10 seconds is really where I would suggest, here we go back to finding trending sounds. So the reason that those trending sounds I know are trending is because they're short and they're sweet and they're concise. And it's hard to find ones that I am even palatable thinking about using, but they exist. Do you use them? That's up to you. That's really a choice artistically. And that's, again, think about your page. I think it's less, this is your page, this is your website on TikTok. So if you are going to try something trending or that you're not the most comfortable doing, I would push it to TikTok because, as I said, authenticity over polish in TikTok. So that is my only, as somebody who's not the admittedly a TikTok strategist, I've I would if I was trying to test the waters and I had an established business on Instagram and I was too nervous to try something too silly or too dumb, I would try it on TikTok. Unless, of course, the waters are opposite for you. If you have a high TikTok following, then yeah, try it on Instagram, right? Low stakes, hopefully high reward. The other thing about TikTok and Reels, as I said, is that series work well. If you tend to post something that people have to come back for, they'll go back to your main page. And I think this is something we've seen take sorry, loud music, if you could pick me up. Take shape on TikTok because there have been creators that have built platforms truly just on telling the same story through multiple iterations. So if you have a longer term project like a mural, you could show it in multiple steps. Here we go. How do we do all this? How do we make all this happen? We're making pottery, we're crocheting, we're making videos. We're too busy. I know. I know. I don't know. No, I'm just here to help. So try to do it in batches. And also everything is content. Everything. So I have that in here. Everything is content. Don't forget about the little things. Set up a tripod and forget it. Like if you're making a large piece or doing something with lots of little steps or something that is a process, honestly, stake out a spot in your studio for your tripod so it's in the same spot every time. Set up your camera, hit record. In my professional opinion, I would always record not in time lapse, even though it does save space on your phone, and then compress and post. Because then if you want to keep some things real time, you'll have it in real time. That's just based on an iPhone's recording specifications. We have shortcuts now, obviously, with like Canva and scheduling. These are later in Buffer are two, and you can obviously just use Instagram, as I mentioned. Those are two apps. There are so many different apps. Look around. You'll find one that can probably even actually, there was one that would take all of the metadata for me and put it on a nice one page with all the information that I needed. So I'm sure one of these may do that as well, which is nice because it is hard to find. So if you could find an app that will pull the data for you to tell you the differences and show you all on one page instead of having to switch devices, it's nice. That is a bit of expense, obviously. It will then, you can, some of them, at least in the olden days, you could just put your posts and they will pop them out whenever you're active, whenever you're done. It was nice. So that is something you can do. Try to do it in batches. Like I mentioned, recording, setting and forgetting, putting them in a folder and posting them on your phone to get that algorithm boost that you need. You want to make sure that you're paying attention essentially as much as you can to what the data is telling you. Because if you are ignoring the data and just trying to be like the best poster ever, you will waste time. You will just waste time. And the dumbest content gets the best views, and you might as well just set your tripod up and do your work and do what you know you're good at, and especially if it's not content, and then put that content in your pocket, reduce it, make a little reel, put a little song on it, and hope for the best. It's better than never doing anything because you can't get any views if you never put anything on the internet. So you really just need to do it. It's so scary, and I believe in all of you. So one of the things that I think will help is we're all going to talk about, hopefully in a few minutes when I'm done with all my slides, collaboration and collaborating with each other. And we'll also talk about kind of how to just make it as easy use as possible. As right here, it says repurpose. One video is your reel, is your TikTok, is your story, right? So try to think about every project, every event as multiple types of media. You're going to have the ability to make a video. You're going to have the ability to show the photos. You're going to have the ability to do a live of you, I don't know, doing a painting for the like varnishing or whatever the last step is. Like you'll build up all of these things. And the reason you can do that is because you're planning ahead. And that's one of the hardest parts. So we're going to figure that out too. So it's like planning ahead becomes daunting as well because we have all of this content. When do we post it, right? Collaborating. We're going to collaborate with each other. We're going to make each other post because we are going to be working with each other. So therefore we are like responsible to the community. So therefore that is another reason that collaborations really do work. And it's not just for views. It's also because it just gets you to actually post something because your friend is depending on you because you're collaborating on this thing. And then those views will help boost your other posts. And guess what? This is when you, as I've called it, ride the wave. So if you start to collaborate with people and you notice that your views are going up and we're collaborating together, we're getting this content out together, you're going to notice a spike in engagement. And with this spike in engagement, you're going to want to ride the wave. So that's when that video becomes a reel, becomes a story, and you start popping up more on people's feeds because the robot is realizing that you're starting to, oh, this person collaborated with somebody else. They're active, they're interesting. What else are they doing? So they will throw your posts at new followers that are old, which you don't want. So if you do notice an uptick in followers and engagement, it is pretty imperative that you want to make sure you have at least one or two posts in your pocket to post so you can ride that wave. And us all hopefully commenting and liking each other's posts and following each other right now after this like Zoom will give us all a little wave so we can ride that, right? If we aren't all following each other, but at the end of this, if we all follow each other, that's all going to, especially if you're all artists in the same area, that's going to create a bump in the algorithm. Therefore, we can ride that wave. I also want to remind everybody at the end that accessibility is important in terms of our media, especially our longer term media and even our stories. If you can put captions on, if you can do descriptions for visually impaired people, if you can do any of that sort of accessibility in your social media, it will only benefit you. There's no reason, and it's relatively easy to put a description in the caption or to have captions on an audio reel. Captions, again, try to keep them short, call to actions, use emojis, or write a novel and be like, it's all in the caption. It's very important. You know how it works. We all know how it works. So at the bottom, we have some call to actions. Save this post, tag a friend, RSVP at link in bio, more info in blog, things like that are call to actions. And at the end of this, which I think I timed okay, we have some Q&As. I would love people to at least think about what they're trying to say, to who they're trying to say it, like, just regular brand things. Like, I want you to try to think about those things. Those are your pillars, right? Your content pillars. Like, who do you want to engage? Why are you engaging them? What about you is engaging? Like, what are you using to draw these people in? What makes you special? Why are you showing us this thing? Like, who is interested in that? Why should they be interested in it? And how do they get to you? Like, where are you? And why is that important? Right? Especially for New Bedford artists. Like, our location is very important to us. So, like, we want to make sure that that's also part of our, description is like, I'm here because of this also, right? If you could post consistently for 4 weeks, that'd be amazing. And honestly, even a story, if you're talking Instagram, something small. Go into your your back end and identify your top three best performing posts, either all time or most recently, and honestly evaluate why you think it did so well and see if you can maybe do it again. Probably won't be able to. I'm sorry. I wish I had better news. It sometimes it just isn't. And sometimes that's for the best. You don't want to be that person on TikTok that's saying the same thing and over and over again in every single video, right? So like, don't fall into that pattern either. You want to make sure you know what works best, but also don't lose your integrity. Like, keep doing you above all else, obviously. And then once you realize your rhythm with posting, if you can post consistently and you kind of see where and when makes the most sense for your audience, just keep doing it. And honestly, collaboration and large events help kind of zhuzh up the views every now and again. So that's pretty much it. I would like, obviously, I have questions, probably time for questions. And then my other goal is for everyone here to, again, hopefully make sure that they're following everyone else here and potentially collaborate with somebody here. So then we can all drive up our engagements and likes.
Excellent. Thank you, Colleen. I'm an avid social media user, and I swear I learned a ton of stuff here. I was like, really? You have to do that? You have to, that makes sense. That makes sense. So excellent. At this time, we're going to open up for questionings. I'll start with some questions in the chat, and then from there, we'll move to the live Q&A portion. So let me make sure that everything is as it should be. Let me then pin myself very quickly. Let me look through the chat because I know I saw some stuff in there. I saw Margot putting in some great questions. And there was a request in there as well. If everyone in here would be willing, or anyone that is willing, put your public profiles in the chat so that we do have an opportunity to follow each other, or to at least reference that so that we can all go back and forth. So that's number one. Let me scroll back, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Margot had it was a general question. What apps do you recommend to help edit reels? Most times I'm doing them directly on Instagram.
That's a good question. There are CapCut is one of the higher, like bigger ones right now. It is nice in terms of that it has a lot of stuff because it's so big, but it's pricey. It's like a monthly fee.
Mhm.
Um, there's also just I use one, I think it's called InShot. It's a
It is.
$25 fee and it's pretty up there. It's pretty good. Like it updates pretty consistently. I think it's just InShot. It's a pretty pricey app to begin with, but you don't have to pay for it monthly, and it's pretty
Oh,
much, yeah. Um,
InShot
the
will let
other
you
thing,
watch ads to not have to pay for everything, so you can watch a couple of ads and still
oh
access
really?
stuff. Yes.
Oh, see,
Hmm.
I've only ever gone all the way, so I
Hmm.
guess that's nice. It's good, and it's pretty intuitive. I have noticed though, so either of those would be my out, or like you could go like Final Cut Pro, I'm sure, but I don't know anything about that. I think the only thing about using those two is that I have noticed it will nerf your views. If you edit in app or in the edits app, you will almost get twice as much views. So even though it crashes and it isn't very good,
It's not.
sometimes if it is a lesser edited video, it might be worth doing it in app, in Instagram or in edits. But for longer ones, I would use InShot or CapCut because I wouldn't want it to crash and then lose everything, which does happen a lot in Instagram.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
All right. Margot also put, I often see TikTok videos on Instagram and on YouTube. So it looks like influencers are posting there first and then on the other platforms. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah. So
Mhm.
I have noticed that as well. And I think that it honestly is. I don't know why they would do that. I was wondering as well, and I think it is because it makes it look like they have more TikTok followers than they do. But because I don't think there really is a plus to posting it. I think ideally you should be posting in each app raw, like from the original video. You shouldn't be taking a video from an app and posting it in another app at all professionally, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And I do not think that there is a reason to algorithm or like view wise, other than the fact that I think the TikTok like logo being in the on the YouTube and on the Instagram makes people want to, like think that this person's like more hip and with it than they really are. I think it's really what it is. I think that's what it is, honestly.
I think it's to let people, I think those are people who primarily use TikTok, but then they know if this goes down, then I'm going to lose everything. So let me open up an Instagram and a Facebook and a YouTube, start posting on there. But they primarily post directly to TikTok. And then I think you can have the option to share the video to each platform from TikTok, but TikTok will always slap its TikTok logo on it. So
Yeah.
people who aren't posting directly onto those other platforms, if you see that, unless they are, and then that's just odd.
I do agree I've seen it and I don't know why I don't know what the tactic is quite.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah.
All right. That was, I believe that's the set of Margot's questions. Oh, hold on. With Instagram, what have you heard about the new repost feature? Any insights on that?
So is it, yeah, I have a question for the class. Is it not out yet? Because I've had it for a while.
Oh,
Is
Yeah,
it,
this is Margot, and we're in the conference room. Yes, I've seen like the past month, maybe couple months.
I gotta
I
take a
don't know. I think it's been around for a while.
okay.
I'm just wondering how it contributes to the algorithm and if you've heard anything about it. Like, it is great that we can repost everyone who is in this area's posts. That I like that, but I don't know how it's contributing to the shares and the reach and all of that stuff.
I think it's nothing but good. In my what from what I've seen how it works mechanically, it just gives you another feed. So it is essentially like a collaboration, right? Like it shows up on the person who retweets, reblogs it, or whatever's feed. The only downside I've noticed is that it does bring a little bit of brand question because like I feel like if people will see it and wonder, not for New Bedford Creative. I think for New Bedford Creative, it's like a gift because that's perfect for somebody who's who's promoting other people. But for promoting yourself, I would be careful using it because I think it was weird for somebody who's used to seeing your content under your name being reblogged to somebody else's content because it shows up on their feed as your content originally. So keep that in mind. But I think that used properly, it is just as effective as collaboration. So I think it's probably only for the best.
That's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
noted and noted. Let me look. Continue. Oh, we have a question in here from one of the participants in the group that says, what suggestions do you have for including language diversity in content when when you are monolingual?
Oh, in terms of translating like your caption? Okay.
Yes.
Um, I am monolingual. Superpowers, people can speak more than one language. Not me. My advice would be to keep it in your native tongue, and that if I let the robot do its job, it will translate most major language. Like anybody who's looking at your stuff will most likely already have translate on. So it may be best to just stay as simple in English as possible. And then if you are like promoting yourself to people who speak other languages, I would mention that we will have people there who also speak Spanish or something like along those lines. Just because unless you have somebody who's translating it completely into the other language, which is another option. And I have done that myself. And I think that that's definitely useful. But I myself couldn't do that. So I wouldn't by myself. But if I had a translator, then yes, 2 languages would be ideal for the communities you're serving.
I have family members who are active on my social media, and I post as an artist, and they can read it fluently because it's translated and they speak Spanish. So they know what's going on. Is the translation perfect? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Because I catch their posts and they're in English, and I'm like, what did you just write? But then I'm like, oh, this is a direct translation, so now it makes sense. Okay. So the translator should be on social media, but yes, I can confirm that I have family members who do not speak English, only read and speak in Spanish. They're monolingual as well, and they understand what I'm saying, and we communicate openly. Okay, let me make sure that there's not anything else in the chat, and then we'll do live Q&As. Just triple checking that there aren't any more questions. Okay, we are in the live Q&A portion of this, and we have 8 minutes or so. So if anybody wants to unmute themselves and go first and ask Colleen some questions, go right ahead.
We have a question in the room. I'm putting Corey on the spot, sorry, but the speaker's right there.
Oh,
so they can
okay.
hear you.
My question was more on finding your authentic brand voice and tone. If you had any advice on that. Because I know that that's important when posting.
Yes. Advice. You have the worst advice. Just be yourself, which is like the worst advice to give you. Honestly, so as like treat it like a business plan would be my like, who do you want to market to? What do you think, like, you know, your client or who you're trying to sell to, what are they going to find trustworthy? Who are you to them? Like, who are you? Like, what are you representing? You know what I mean? You have to think about it in the like almost backwards. Like, what is that client looking for in you? So then therefore you can present that to them. Like when I was a wedding photographer, I had to be very on top of my game, and this is your day and everything's about you and it's all about you and I'm very confident and everything's great. Like, am I like that? Look at Hendrik. No. Right. So like, but that's who I was to them because that's who I needed to be to them. So that is part of who, like, when you're instructing an art class, you are that person who makes somebody feel confident. You are that person who makes somebody feel like they can express themselves. You be that person. You are that person. You just have to like put that mask on, that teacher mask, and just be that person. It's not that you're not that person. It's that you have to like put your job first. And so sometimes it's a little bit of performing, but it's also just smiling for the customer. It's the same thing, and it's hard to make that break. I would suggest doing it in a mirror, which again is awful advice. Try not looking yourself in the eye when you record. Is another advice to me. I also put a post-it over my face sometimes. Is another all tips and tricks.
We are loving those tips and tricks, Colleen. Thank you. I also, this is Margot again from the conference room. You can't really see us.
No, we see you. We see you.
Okay, good. So I just want to point out in the comments, Ashley Payne made a comment that we'll be diving into brand strategy and voice in the next peer-to-peer as well. So, encouraging everyone to sign up for that session. It's great that we have our next presenter here with us today. So thank you, Ashley, for that comment. And thank you, Colleen, for that that answer.
Segue.
It was very helpful
Mhm.
here.
Segue into Ashley's.
If I can comment on the last question, I'm somebody who for years was like, I just want to rap. I don't want to have to be a comedian and a videographer and a color editor and a fashion icon so that people will listen to my 3-minute song on their cell phone one time ever. It seemed like a lot of work. The best piece of advice I could give you is to compartmentalize how you feel and fold that uncomfortability up that you might have for social media and put it in your back pocket and leave it there and address that at a different time. I cringe at every one of my posts, all of them. I don't know how they work. It just happens to work. But a lot like if you're asking finding your brand, the way I did it was I remember what commercials, literally, what commercials on TV had the most impact on me when I was younger, whose branding had that. And it was always something like Mercedes-Benz or Coca-Cola, or the way MTV promoted this, or the way the WWF did during the Attitude Era. And I took all those things because I knew how they affected me. And I'm the type of person I want to attract towards my music. And I just found a way to package that into rap and into hip hop. And then eventually it just turned into performance art. And then from there, my clientele found me, but I was loud, outlandish, and very much in everybody's face for a long time. The other side of that spectrum works well too. It's like Colleen said, it's putting on the mask. I saw a lot of things that I liked that I wasn't, and I said, okay, I'm gonna try that on, and if that works, that works. And in fact, this is a mask I'm gonna wear while I do this. It's not that it's not me, but that social media and the clientele list, the people that I'm trying to get to see me, they want a certain product, and I'm the product, right? So I have to give them personality before they buy the product. And that's the only way that worked out. I had to stop being uncomfortable with it. And trust me, it's uncomfortable to be like, oh, I'm going to this place. I'm going to capture content because I know it's beneficial to the business. I know it's super uncomfortable, but you have like it's the best thing that you can do for your brand, for your message, for the pillar that you are within your community is to get over that and find a way to be comfortable with who you are and what you are, and then post it. It's almost never going to do great. It's such few pieces of my content are over 1 million views. I'm very grateful for those. I had very little control over those pieces getting 1 million views. And then the pieces that I was like, oh, this is definitely going to hit 1,000. I'm like, okay, I don't understand. Anything that had my music on it, couple hundred. Soon as I posted something about the Boston Celtics, through the roof. Soon as I posted something about Bad Bunny, through the roof. Other than that, I guess the right people saw it, but it wasn't a majority. So I would say do your best to get over the uncomfortability that comes with that, because there's only beautiful things on the other side.
It is so hard, Hendrik, and you're right. Like all of that. And one of the other things I think has helped me is that I have as you all saw briefly, I have a personal page, and I don't put on a mask on that page at all. I blog who I am very rarely and rarely and I tell my clients, even when I had wedding clients, I say like, this is my wedding page, and this page is personal and public. And if you follow this page, you will see not wedding photographer Colleen. So like as an artist, I can understand that being a hard dichotomy, but I have found for me that two separate accounts works. I know that some people will tell you literally the opposite. They will tell you not to, that the separation of personality is bad. They want all the personality all the time. It's too exhausting for me. So I had to have two separates, and that's just me personally. You do have to kind of make that choice.
With me, I have one, and it's like 90% my artist, right? I do not post me as an artist. I do not post my children. I very rarely post my wife. I do not talk about what's happening in my personal life. You get art. That's what I want to give you. That's what I want to curate towards you. And it took like 5 years, but eventually that turnover. I think that's something that we should have spoke about, right? Like post what you're going to post. It's a 3 to 5 year plan. It's a 3 to 5 year plan. Post
Yeah, I think
post.
that's an advanced social media
Mhm.
page. But I do think you're right. Like getting to integrate your personal into your business is for sure a long-term plan. And planning all together long-term is what helps social media, unfortunately. So that is a big part of it.
Yeah, it changed over for me after about 3 to 5 years. That's when things started to kind of go on automatic, and I was at
It's a
40
long game.
a month.
Yeah. Okay. Yay. I hope we helped somebody. Instagram. How does it work?
Anybody else have any questions, please ask them now. These things are important. And I know if I wasn't on this side, I'd be on that side. I'd be asking 1,000 more. All right. I want to thank you all for your time this afternoon. This was a great session. I'd like to also thank Colleen MacRamos once again for their hard work. Also, I'd like to thank our funders, the City of New Bedford, National Endowment for the Arts, Barr Foundation, Bristol County Savings Bank, and South Coast Community Foundation for making this possible. Please be sure to visit our website, newbedfordcreative.org, and join our free creative directory. This is the list we use to promote on our social media throughout the year. Make sure to add your events, galleries, exhibitions, or more to our calendar page that is linked to southcoasttoday.com. We want our creatives to excel, and we are here to help. Join us for our next session, Creative Marketing Strategies with Ashley Payne, on Tuesday, November 4th from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. And it'll be available via Zoom or in person here at 1213 Purchase Street's second floor conference room. Thank you all and have a great day.